Welcome to another episode of Optimal Health for Busy Entrepreneurs. I'm your host, Julian Hayes II, back at it again. Welcome to a Mental Model Monday, and welcome to those who are actually watching the video version of this. I'm hanging out at the park just to get some fresh air. It's actually a little cool here. And I got to thinking, and there's a Muhammad Ali quote that inspired me, and also just some conversations that I've been having recently. I took a little hiatus from the podcast, so apologies for that. But great stuff is on the way. Awesome guests are on the way. But anyway, I digress. Today is about optimal health is achieved through, or optimal health is achieved behind closed doors. And I'll say that again, optimal health is achieved behind closed doors. And there's a quote from Muhammad Ali that's really going to help solidify this here. And I have a piece of paper here so I don't butcher it. So he says, the fight is won or lost away from witnesses, behind the lines, in the gym, and out there on the road, long before I dance under those lights. You see, we can look at athletics, we can look at business, we can look at successful relationships, and especially successful people with their fitness and health. We see the highlight reels, we see the pictures, the montages of all these people achieving great things. And even with people in fitness, we see the six packs, we see the musculature, the striations, we see the toned legs, the nice glutes, we see all these end results. But what we do not see is the process, the sacrifices, the restraint held, the delayed gratification, the intentionality, the attention to detail, the blood, sweat, and tears sometimes that happens, the restless nights, in the case of successful entrepreneurs at times, the loss of friendships, loss of family members just because they didn't support the vision, and you had breakups, and even sometimes massive debt, and just all these stories and everything. We don't see that in the dark, and that's what takes place in the dark. You see, growth happens in the dark, very much so. That is where anything meaningful, anything worthwhile is forged in the dark. It is forged when no one is watching. You see, it's easy to be a persona, to be a person, to put on an act. It's very easy when the lights are on. It's very easy when people are looking. But the true character and the true results, they happen when no one's watching. You see, we can easily lie to a lot of people that we see on a day-to-day basis, but we cannot lie to ourselves. And over the course of time, our results cannot lie for themselves. And so whatever we do in the dark will eventually find itself coming to the light at some point. Now, some people are very good at keeping these things in the dark for a very long time, but eventually that shit still comes back out into the light. You cannot hide it forever. And that's one of the reasons why I box in the dark sometimes at my gym. I can see a little bit, so it's not complete, total darkness, but it's just like a life metaphor of what I was saying, is that people see the end result, but they will never see what it took and what it takes to get there. And at times this can be frustrating. It can be frustrating. But it's part of the process. So as you go about achieving optimal health, it's a lot of times, and when I say optimal health, we have a different definition here of what optimal health is. Optimal health is way beyond just how you look and, how you look at the beach or anything. No. Optimal health is much deeper than that. Optimal health is, spiritually, how are we attuned to the world? Are we fulfilled? What about our relationships and our careers and our business? All these things, our environment. That is what optimal health is about. It is not just about health for vanity's sake and superficialism. Now, granted, it's important, but optimal health is much deeper than that. So that's what I'm talking about here in the dark, because everything is connected. It is all very much a system, as I've said numerous times. So who are you in the dark? What work are you putting in when no one's watching? You see, a lot of times people will talk. We can talk and talk and talk ideas, but the actions are going to be the most meaningful thing. And as I think about aging, and I think about the measures to truly enhance lifespan, health span, and wealth span, it's going to take some separation and being okay with that. The majority of people are not going to do it, and that's okay. That's their decision. But if you very much so are serious about optimal health and really serious about unleashing and unlocking the potential that's waiting inside and truly living as rich of a life as possible, then you're going to have to make sure you're doing the right actions in the dark. And this is a little more philosophical, so I want to leave this with some practicality and a few things of what you can do in terms of kind of bringing this home into a lesson that you can distill. So the first thing is to do a personal audit of yourself and truly be honest with yourself. Think about the areas of life that are very important to you. And are you measuring up with who you are in the light, with who you are in the dark? And a very easy example can be someone they have the image of this great family man and wholesome guy, but then in the dark, he's someone completely different, a total opposite of character. We've seen this a lot with politicians, where we think they're some way, and then we find out they have like 5 or 6 or so scandals. That's a very easy example. But there's other people as well. With our eating habits, some people look like they have it all under control. They're very fit and everything, and then they could just be that way because they're bulimic, or they have some not so healthy habits behind closed doors that keeps them that way. And so that's just 2 easy examples right there. So really take a personal audit, your relationships, both platonic and romantic, and your business, most importantly. I know myself at times, there has been a mismatch between the identity in the light and the identity in the dark. And the second thing here is to practice what I call intentional solitude. And some people might call this being selfish, but I am very much a proponent of selfish, and I'm very much a proponent of taking back that word and rebranding it. It's absolutely essential to be selfish, especially as a entrepreneur and someone who's impact driven, because a lot of times we are very benevolent, we are very service oriented, and we spread ourselves thin, and we oftentimes put ourselves last. And the thing is, you're not going to be able to give your best self to truly pour into people to the highest level if you're not filled up first and taking care of yourself. So practice intentional solitude. What things do you need to do on a daily basis to have you performing at the best and most peak level that you can possibly be at for that day? So those are 2 simple things. But just remember, as I wrap this up here, that what you do in the dark, what you do when no one's watching, is ultimately what matters, is ultimately what creates the optimal health. Words are cool, ideas are cool, but actions is really what matters. So this week, as you focus and go about yourself, really just challenge yourself. Am I congruent with the image that's projected with the character of who I really am when no one's watching? It may get uncomfortable. I know with myself a lot of times I've had to do some of these reality checks and even have people call me out. So other than that, I hope this helped. Any questions, as always, reach out through social or email. And until next time, stay awesome, be limitless, and as always, never stop upgrading. Peace.